everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I am doing my June design team project for Artzology. That's Deb here at Artzology on YouTube, and she also has an Etsy store, Artzology Creations. I'll put the name over the screen here, and I was so excited to be selected to be one of her design team members. So I'm a little bit late getting this up. It was supposed to be up by June, and it's June 27th. So I'm going to enjoy working on my projects today. I am chock out of greeting cards. I don't have any more. I actually had to buy some, and I haven't done that in probably 15 years. So I thought, okay, time has come. And what a perfect opportunity to use some of Artzology beautiful digital creations. So I've got this one with a beautiful lily and the roses and the script. I love that it has, Deb does her work so well. It's got all the background and the script and the stamping, and oh, look at that little bumblebee right there. And see the ink splotches. Like, I love that. Love it, love it, love it. And this guy. So these are the ones I printed to work with today. So I'm going to make some greeting cards, and I want them to be no sentiment, like generic, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So I'm going to be playing, obviously, with these, and then with my sparrow, I don't even know what they're called. I just call it the Sparrow. It was by Melody Ross. I don't know if any of you happened to get this when it was in about 10 years ago. And it stamps on leather and cardboard and chipboard and aluminum. And these are from pop cans that I just recruited from our recycling, and I cut them and made sure the edges weren't sharp, and yeah, I thought they would come in great for words and sentiments. So I'm going to get started. First I'm going to put some sentiments on this, and then I will be back because it's very, very loud listening to the hammering. You have to put the letter. I'll just show you one. So I'm going to put wishes. And this one was crooked, so I just thought I'd come back and get some masking tape. This is a little trick I do because I do everything way all wrong. Like crooked. Not wrong, but crooked. And sometimes crooked can be cool if you're going for a whimsical look. But that's not what I'm going for. So this will give me a guide where to place my tool. And it'll be relatively straight. But I'll just give you 1 pound so you can see what I mean. And I'm doing the word wishes. So there. Can you see the W there? So I'll go on and I'll continue pounding off camera. So I wanted to show you, I had the tape across here, so what I did is I stamped wishes on this side, then I flipped it over and stamped it on the other side so as not to waste that straight line I had. And only trick with using this tool, which is very obvious, is making sure when you stick it on here, because there's no right or wrong way, it just pops on, that you look at your letter and you make sure it's in the direction you want it to be before you stamp it. It seems kind of an obvious thing to do, but yeah, sometimes when you're all caught up in your project, you don't tend to always be thinking about that kind of stuff. And I always make sure I put them back in alphabetical order because it makes it easier. So for now, I am done with this. I don't know if they even sell these anymore, but you could look on eBay or something. I love this tool. I love it, love it, love it. We use it a lot for knitting when we're putting a label. Like my daughter crochets and sells her stuff, and she has a logo. And so I stamp out her logo on leather and then she stitches it on. Yeah, it's very cool. So I'm going to carry on. So I've got my good old Stampin' Up! Scissors that cut through pretty much anything. I was just looking at my punches to see if my word, well, maybe this one will work. The Stampin' Up! One. It might be long enough, or the word might, well, it just makes it. But before I do that, I'm going to use some of this by Finnabar, and it's gold rust, the rust effect stuff. So I'm just going to play around with this stuff, and I think I'm just going to use my finger. I'm going to start. It's getting kind of, you know, crusty. I'm going to start with the darkest shade and work to the lightest shade. Oh, maybe I have a little tiny spongy thing. Yeah, I'll use this. You could use anything, makeup brushes, whatever floats in your boat. And we're just going to try to rust up our aluminum here. Because this stuff, this stuff works best on metal. So if I can get it all down in the grooves of those words, that will work great. So we ended up using the brown, and then I wiped it off with this sponge. I took a paintbrush after all. There. And so I'm going to go into the rusty one first. I just have to get a rag to clean the paintbrush. So I played around with that rust effect stuff, and it even has some texture. Can you see? So I'm going to clean this up and then get onto my cards and let this dry really well. I've decided after this is dried to just put a thin coat of Mod Podge on this, just because it's a greeting card and I don't want the chance of any of the rust rubbing off on anyone. So I've cut out all the elements. I'm doing 2 cards here, and I decided to use the rose with the clock, and I'm also going to use, I think these are either lilies or what do you call them? We have them in our garden just coming up. Anyway, you know the flower, this one. So what I'm going to do is I have a lot of colored cardstock, and I rarely use it. I mostly make my cards with either white, neutral, or brown. So very neutral tones. I rarely use colored cardstock, and I thought, you know, it's silly. Why not use it to accent this beautiful rosy pink? So I took that piece, and the cards are 5.5 inches. This piece is 5 1/4, and this print from Artzology is 5 inches, and the same on this one, but I decided to use like a really pretty orangey color for there. And so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to ink around the cardstock and the print just to echo the rich black that's already on there. So I'm going to do that on both. So I'm re-recording this part because I don't think I had my camera on last time. So what I said was I was showing you how well it inked around the edges of both of them. And then I wanted to add some sort of gold leaf adornment on top of this, just for a layering element. And I had my gold leaf, and it didn't seem to work well with this rusted bronzy creation I'd made out of the pop can there. So, I mean, it could have worked, but I just happened to unwrap a glass, and it had all of this metallic tissue like this. And I'm like, hey, that matches way better. So I cut it up into little pieces, and I'm just going to use that as my faux leafing. And I think I'll just stick one in the middle. It's just for layering purposes, just to give the finished card a little bit more of a layering feature, and I always try to not cover up these images. There. So that one's done, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same on this guy. So before I add my sentiment and elements on my card, you can see how that kind of even shimmers. Isn't that cool? And it was just tissue paper. So I'm just going to keep building, but before as I continue to build, I guess I should say, I want to add something else on the background. And I got these things of tulle. No, these spools of tulle at a garage sale. I got 3 of them for $5. And okay, I've got that done. Oh, the flower I was thinking of was gladiolas. Anyway, I've got that bronze on there. And so the next element I want to add is a little flower. And I bought 3 rolls of tulle like this. And I thought I might use a different color and spray the tulle, but I'm going to just use it as white. And I punched out 2 little circles here, so I have a base to kind of create my flower on. Just going to use some Fabri-Tac glue and just put it all over that circle. And then I'm just going to freehand some sort of flower situation. I'll sort of start in the middle and just keep going around till I get something that is semblance of some kind of flower. Because this glue is liquid, of course you're going to have to hold it. It's not like a glue gun. I suppose I could have used a glue gun, but I did not. And I still have alcohol ink on my fingernails, so it looks like I'm inking my flower, but it's just happening organically. And as it gets to the exterior of the circumference, I want it to be quite loose, like that. Do you see that? That's just what I want to happen there. So let me continue on this for this one and the other flower. So I'm just starting to build card number 1, but before I do, it isn't cohesive to me. So what I'm going to do is dry brush some gesso where I've added those bronze, those bronzy pieces. I'll just put it over here. I'm going to move this. I have glued down my little tulle circle here, and I've got this part of a flower that I had in my stash. I don't even know where it came from. And so I'm just going to brush gesso on everything just to make it more cohesive. So everything blends in as one. That little end isn't glued down. Maybe the gesso will glue it down. Yes. Then it keeps everything all like it's supposed to be, you know what I mean? And remember, I have the white card that is going to be attached underneath all of this. Now I'm going to apply, I did end up using that particular punch for my word wishes. I'm just going to kind of apply some gesso around it, but I don't want to cover up the word wishes. So this card could be for anything. Birthday wishes, best wishes on a job, baby wishes, you know what I mean? That's what I mean. I don't have any cards, so I need some that are very generic. Found this pretty little gold flower. I think I was probably going to use it for another project, but it can still, I like the gold glitter on it. Sorry about my yippy dog. The neighbors have their dog running outside, and he's just going nuts because, of course, he thinks he's king of the neighborhood, you know? Killer Joe. So I'm going to adhere that one there. Then I've got this little chocolate brown, lovely little rose. And what I'm doing is trying to make the roses that Deb created come to life, become more dimensional. So instead of one-dimensional, it becomes a 3D rose. And these are the kind of cards, well, I mail them. A lot of people don't because they're too bulky, but I don't mind. If it's for someone special, I don't mind paying the extra to mail the card to someone. So I just have to cut the little stem off this guy here. Just a little too long. These are so pretty. There you go. Got that stem cut off. I love the gesso, inclusion of the gesso on these things. It just tied, they were just blobs on the page, and now they kind of blend in. And then, of course, we're going to add our, I'm going to adhere it to that leaf so it doesn't get hidden underneath. And I think I'll bend it like that and adhere it here and here. You know what I mean? Something like that. So let me go get this glue together. I'm going to use gel medium to glue. It's a great glue. I've mentioned this before many times. I like it much better than a glue gun because gel medium is flexible when it dries, and a glue gun glue, once it dries, it becomes brittle and all your things fall off your page. So if you're ever wondering why your stuff fell off your page, that's why. So this is down to its very last bit. So I think this will be the last project I'll be using this for. So I'll get this all glued together, and the other one will be very similar. So here's the first of my finished cards. You can see the detail. Obviously, the main feature is the printable from Artzology Designs. I love it. And you can clearly read the word wishes. And if you look on the side, you can see the tulle there and the gesso and my faux gold leaf. And the inking around is just perfect. I didn't ink around the card. I left them blank inside depending on what the celebration is. So that's card numero uno. And here's the second one. Same but different, as they say. This one is, I put my tableau on this corner because it was more blank and the gladiolas were more vibrant on this side. So I didn't want to cover up the flowers. This was just where the stem was of the print. So I used a blue flower, added some glitter to that. You can see that, and gesso these little flowers and the tulle around again. And then I used a white flower in the background at the base, gesso and my gold leaf, and the word wishes is going to the other direction. So they are very, very similar but different. So as you can see, the two of them there. And then on the one that had the, I think it was this one. I'm not sure if it was the roses with the clock or this one. I really am not positive, but it had a bumblebee on it. So I took my scallop punch, punched it out. I tried alcohol ink instead of the rusted stuff, just for a difference to see. And I used like a purpley one and a brown one, and it says be well. And I've got a little bit of tulle around. You can see it if you look closely. And there's the bumblebee. And I did the exact same treatment on this one, but it's just little. I think it's 3 by, well, these are 5.5. So yeah, 3 by 5.5. I just used the leftover scrap that was there. So here is my design team project for the month of June for Artzology Designs. I hope you guys like them. I hope you guys go over to Etsy and check it out, and check out all the other design team members that have done projects for the month of June. And go check out Deb's channel here on YouTube called Artzology. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next month. Bye-bye.